What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today I am reviewing the movie Werewolves. I watched it earlier. This finally went on the seas, and I'm gonna be honest, it makes sense why it took so fucking long to go on the seas, because holy shit, it's bad. I was kind of initially like, you know what, maybe this is just a bit no, it's bad. I like Frank Grillo. He's like probably the best part of the movie. I like the werewolf effects. Like, I like that it was practical. They didn't go uber CGI. But man, this I'm gonna probably just title this. This movie should just be a sci-fi movie. I'll probably like try to shorten it in a way, but this is a sci-fi film. The Sci-Fi Channel. Like, when I'm thinking sci-fi film, I'm thinking the Sci-Fi Channel. This is literally that. I don't know how this was released in theaters. And the sad thing is the concept's good. It's basically The Purge with werewolves. I'm not even going to really go too into the plot, because it's basically what it is. And I think the other thing was, it just like they added a bunch of gobbledygook in terms of the way they try to explain how the werewolves work and why this whole process needs to happen. But it just didn't add to the story. It really, it was lazy. Lou Diamond Phillips was in it for 2 seconds. Frank Grillo plays Wesley, who's a scientist, along with his wife Lucy, who, like, the other problem is this film is so unfocused, because it wants to focus on Frank Grillo along with his I guess co-worker, Dr. Amy Chen, who they both have to, when it goes into effect, they have to go and try to go through because when it goes into effect and everybody turns into werewolves, they have to go into the city. And the thing is, that concept's cool, but they don't even really explore it. It's, for one, I think it takes too long to get started. I was like clocking it. It was like 20, 30 minutes in was when things finally started happening, and I was just like, okay, I also feel like the violence was very held back. I don't think this film was even rated R. This was, hold on, let me look. I'm gonna look up what the rating is. Because this did not feel like an R-rated film at all. Oh, apparently it's an R-rated film, but it's the softest R rating ever. That's the wild thing. I thought it was like PG-13, because it felt PG-13. And it's another half-baked concept, where good concept in here, but they just didn't do anything with it. I like the practical effects of the wolves, but then there are times it looks bad, though, I will be honest. The moment where the moon, they all turned, that could have been a cool scene, and I wanted more from it, but it just didn't. And then obviously when the wolves break out and they start killing all the doctors and start killing everybody, I think that could have been cool, but it just... I also thought the movie's pacing was not really well done, because it goes back to the character focus. It focuses on Frank Grillo as Wesley Marshall and his cohort, Dr. Amy Chen, but then it keeps cutting back to Lucy Marshall and his daughter, who, in my opinion, really doesn't have a character. She's just his daughter. And then... a guy later becomes a werewolf who has like an American flag thing, because he's like this crazy soldier. It's terrible, dude. I don't understand why you can take a concept like this and you just waste it. Maybe this should have been a fan film. I think that this is another one. This could have been a fan film. Or actually, no, I think this could have been a film. I just think you needed someone to actually do something with it. You know what's frustrating? I love werewolves. I like it. I like vampires too, but I love werewolves. And I feel like werewolves get such a bad rep now in terms of film. They're like, never want to make good werewolf movies anymore. Like, the last really good werewolf movie was probably, it might have been one of the Ginger Snap sequels. Honestly. I didn't hate the 2010 Wolfman movie. It had problems, but I didn't hate it. But, like, we haven't had anything really epic since probably Dog Soldiers, if I'm being honest. That was 2002. And that's what, 23 years ago now? That's fucking crazy. And it's sad, because I just feel like werewolves just get a bad, because I'm not going to count the Underworld movie, because yeah, technically, I guess if you want to throw in the Underworld movies, but they're part, to me, werewolves are a part of those movies. They're not even really the focus. I'd argue vampires are still more of a focus, because the main lead is a vampire with Celine. So, I'm sorry. Werewolves are just kind of part of that world. They're not even really the focus. Aside from maybe Michael Corvinus. But that's more because he's a love interest. So and he's like a hybrid anyway. He's not even a full-on just werewolf. So outside of those, and obviously I'm not counting shitty Twilight, yeah, werewolves have just been just getting the shit end of the stick in terms of films, and I'm sorry, films like this just does not help, man. You know, I would have even been fine if you went like a 30 Days a Night aspect with this, and they just didn't. They didn't really explain the concept, and the way they explain it is just half-assed. It's like if AI explained it, just so we can get werewolf shit. That's what this is. It's just an excuse to get werewolf shit. To me, inherently, I don't hate. If you want to make this just like a dumb fucking B movie, but the fact that this couldn't even just be a dumb B movie is the bigger problem I have with this. That is the thing that pisses me off even more. Just give me a dumb fun movie. The plot doesn't even have to make fucking sense, but just be a dumb fun movie where you get werewolves ripping people apart. You know what? Maybe if the plot isn't great, but I get some cool werewolf action, fine. But that's not what I got here. This is just a piece of shit. It was a giant waste of time. And you know what? I'm not as mad because thankfully at least I didn't see it when it came out, because I feel like I'd be far more mad if I had saw it when it came out. But I'm kind of happy it took forever to go on the seas now, because fuck this movie. This was a giant waste of time. I don't recommend this. There's no, I don't even know if I'd even say watch a kill compilation. I don't even know if I'd even say that, because the kills aren't that great. They're just okay. And the fact that this is R-rated, it's sad. Giant waste of time. The third act ends with, like, he ends up turning into a werewolf and, like, ends up attacking his wife. But she manages to shoot the window out and he turns back. Whatever. Fuck this movie. I'm not even going to really go too into the plot. Like, I'll go a little bit into it, but I'm not going to go as into it like I normally do in my reviews, because there's no, who cares? This is one of those movies where I'm like, who cares, man? It's so out of 10, this is like a 2 out of 10. 3 if I'm giving it an extra point just because the practical effect, but everything else, it's shit. What a waste, man. You have a concept with the Purge of Werewolves and you just do nothing with it. So, fuck this movie. I'll figure out what I'm going to do. I might do All-Star Superman tomorrow. I know I probably should do that Friday, but I might just do it tomorrow. And then I'll figure out for the rest of the week what I got going on. But yeah. So, anyways. Sorry. I'll be getting into the movie now. Subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. We just did our stream last night. Link will be in the description. So the movie opens up. We meet Frank Wesley Marshall and his family. And they just kind of go into how the world works and how this night is a super moon that causes everybody to turn into werewolves. And then they try to control it the following year, and it just doesn't work. So that's really what it is. And the thing is, the idea is cool, but it's half-baked, man. This shouldn't have been a theatrical release. I don't understand who thought this was a good idea to release this in theaters. I really don't understand who thought this was like a good idea. Like, one, I feel like the opening's almost like 20, 30, 20, 25 minutes was spent. I get it. We got to introduce Frank and his family and all that. But I felt like there was points where I'm like, okay, this is just too long. Outside of the little, like, oh, here's little snippets about the, the incident. But it's like, I would have rather had more about that. And it's like Frank Grillo, who, keep in mind, he did Tulsa King season 2 the same year. And that was fucking great. He was great in that. So it's frustrating that they bring him in this and he does fuck all. He does fuck all. And I mean, I guess for the ladies, you see him shirtless. So I guess if you want to see that you do see him shirtless. And for the dudes, I'm sorry, there's no like titties or anything. So it's just like, I mean, like, his wife's hot. That's like my only real compliment for the film. Ugh, God. Like, they really don't even explain. It's like AI explanation in the sense of like, we're just gonna just write a bunch of bullshit to kind of explain how the shit works, but we're not gonna really go into it and give you any actual detail on how it works. And I'm not even saying I need to know the intricacies and all that bullshit. I'm just, give me something. I want to invest in this. I love werewolves. And it's just, they constantly just get fucked over in film. I don't understand it. Like, Ginger, yeah, you have the original Wolfman. I love, obviously my favorite werewolf film is Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers, American Werewolf in London. The American Werewolf in London's from 81. The Howling, 81. Granted, I heard a lot of the Howling sequels are shit, but whatever. I didn't hate the Wolfman remake, but that was 2010. That was fucking, 15 years ago? Going on? So, come on, man. Dog Soldiers was 23 years ago. It's like, I can name more better recent vampire movies. Obviously, more recent vampire movie with Nosferatu that just came out, but not even just that. Even like 28, 30 Days a Night, that was 2007, but that's still more recent. The Underworld movies. It's just like there's a, Abigail, which that was also in 2024. So it's like there's a bunch of better vampire movies, but why can't we get good werewolf ones? And I'm not gonna lie, the trailer for this intrigued me when it came out, and then it's just, they wasted the concept, and it's sad because it's another half-baked kind of concept film where there's a good concept in there, but they just fucking shit the bed with everything else. The acting is laughable at times, especially from the wife, I'm not gonna lie, her acting at times. The scene where she's trying to, this is towards the end, like actually pretty much the last bit, when Frank turns into a werewolf. And she tries to show a picture of him and his family in the line. I don't remember the exact line. It's like, oh, look at this picture, or something like that. And the way she delivers it, I straight up busted out laughing. I'm like, oh my god, this acting is pretty laughable. This is straight up a Sci-Fi Channel movie that just somehow got theatrical release and actually had a cast somewhat. And, okay, so they get to the process where everybody turns into werewolves, but it goes wrong. They start attacking everybody, and you would think this kind of scene would be like, okay, this is cool. No, not really. Not really. I did like the practical effects with the werewolves and the transformation. Okay, if I had one actual genuine, I guess, positive comment about the movie, is the transformations look good. It obviously nowhere near like an American Werewolf in London transformation, but it's still like, okay, it's a decent transformation, but the rest of the movie, it's just ass. If this came out on Sci-Fi or it was like straight to streaming, maybe I wouldn't hate this movie as much. But they expected you to pay money for this. I would have been so mad if I paid like $10 for this. You know. So I know it's retroactive, but this is definitely in my worst of 2024 list. So 23, so I know it was like, uh, I think it was like top 18 worst films. So this is 19. This would probably be like 19, because I don't, compared to some obviously of the other lists, even compared to my number 18, I think this is not as bad, but it's still bad. What a waste, man. And like, you would, a scene like that where the werewolves just going loose and started killing people, you would think that would get us that would get me. Nah, not really. It was just like, whatever. Like I said, the transformations looked good, and I liked how practical the wolves looked. But then there were moments they didn't look great. I'll be honest. There were moments they looked fine, and then they were looked bad. Then obviously the werewolves. There was a werewolf transforming around the house with his wife, so it would cut back to his wife trying to protect her home. And I get they wanted to make use of that actress, but I didn't need that. I think you should have just had it just be Frank Grillo and Amy Chen's character, or Katrina Law's character, who's Amy Chen. It should have just been them two trying to survive the purge. And maybe, you know what, if you wanted every now and then cut to the wife, like if you cut down on the wife, you still have her in the movie, fine. But I really think it largely should have been them two, and it's him trying to get home. I think if you simplified that, it's him trying to get home, trying to survive these werewolves. Have a 30, you take a little bit of 30 Days a Night, where the werewolves take over the fucking city. I would have loved a sequence like in 30 Days a Night, where the vampires just take over and like go house to house. Imagine if you had a scene like that with the werewolves, where they went house to house and just started attacking everybody. They didn't do that, because you know what? They were just, I don't know, man. I'm not even, you could argue a budget thing maybe, but I still think that's bullshit. I think you could add a scene like that. I don't know if it's a case of maybe with werewolves it's much more prosthetics too. Maybe that's why they don't ever go all out with werewolf films versus vampires. Because to be fair, vampires a lot of the time, they you just have to make them really pale, and sometimes they can just look humanoid, right? Even Last Voyage of the Demeter, that was 2023. So vampires are just on the end because they're either humanoid. There's only a couple cases where they're like obviously Last Voyage of the Demeter was more monstrous, but most of the time they can be humanoid, and you don't need to put like fur and get wolf prosthetics and stuff. I don't know if that's part of the reason, whereas werewolves, because it takes, and the transformation process. There's no real transformation process with vampires. You just become a vampire when you get bitten. So I think it's just frustrating though, that you could easily, Hollywood could put money into it. The shit they've done with obviously DC and Marvel movies and the effects and that stuff, but they can't. They're too lazy to do fucking effects werewolf stuff. Are you fucking kidding me? Or do a scene like I mentioned. Imagine the wolves going house to house, and maybe there's like, you have this alpha wolf. Imagine if he went house to house like the alpha vampire in 30 Days a Night. No. I'm not even saying, this is one of the cases where I'll straight up say, I was going to say, I'm not saying you should steal from 30 Days a Night. Fuck it. Steal from 30 Days a Night. There's some 30 Days a Night mixed with like Dog Soldiers a little bit. Maybe there's a scene where Frank Grillo and Katrina Law, I'm just going to call them by the real names at this point, you know, they have to bunker down someone, and the werewolves are trying to get it. Do something like that. Like, what the fuck, man? You had an hour and a half, and you do fucking nothing with it. That's the frustrating thing with movies like this, where you have something there, but they just don't fucking do anything with it. It's this weird, like, we're in this era of Hollywood where some of these directors have no imagination. You know what? You need more people with imagination make movies. Like, look at what Robert Eggers just did with Nosferatu. You know, the amount of imagination that went into that, even the imagination that went to a film like Dog Soldiers. You know, military guys having to be bunkered down, having to survive being attacked by werewolves. Hence the name. Simple. 30 Days a Night. Like some of these movies that just a little bit of imagination they put into it and are really good. Whereas this one is the Purge of Werewolves. The amount of imagination you can do with that. And then take from certain other movies, but no. You do fuck it all with it. So I'm just gonna kind of jump to. He gets back home. I guess there's a scene earlier. He gets bitten or scratched or something like that, and obviously he ends up turning. But she manages, instead of shooting him, she shoots like the bunkered window. The moon comes in, and obviously that's when the night it's done, and he turns back. And he's all shirtless. So, ladies, I guess the only good thing for you, if you're gonna want to see anything from this, you get a shot of Frank Grillo shirtless. But the rest of it is, man. There's not a lot to really describe because it's just they do the most basic bullshit so he can survive. And I think if I remember, she died. Amy Chen does end up dying. She does face off with the alpha werewolf, which it's just another werewolf. That's it. What a waste, man. I'm gonna keep reiterating this. Werewolves are cool, and they just drop the ball and did nothing with it. You have a fucking werewolf, and you do fucking nothing with it. So fuck this movie. I hope it bombed. I mean, no one's talking about it, so it bombed at least in the cultural sense because no one's talking about it. And I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. It's a straight up. This should have been like straight to sci-fi, straight to Tubi kind of movie. This did not need to be theatrical at all. You know, the sad thing is, even Frank Grillo turning into a werewolf was just clearly done just so you can have that, like, something happen in the end. But, yeah, because it's like they clearly didn't have an idea of what they wanted to do with the third act, so they're just like, have him get home, and he turns into a werewolf, and she has to try to save him. Fuck this movie. Man, I'm happy it took forever now to get on the seas, because this was a giant waste of fucking time. I'm so mad. Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips is in the movie, but he doesn't have any actual real role. He's a random doctor. But he's one of them that actually, I think he ends up getting turned. So it's like, it doesn't even fucking matter. He's not even a real character. The thing, I think Lou Diamond Phillips is a good actor. It's just, he doesn't do anything in this movie. Man. Yeah, fuck this film, man. I will never watch this again, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't recommend this. There's no point in watching it. Watch, like, Dog Soldiers again. Watch Ginger Snaps again. The Ginger Snap trilogy again. Watch fucking American Werewolf in London. The Howling. There's a bunch of better werewolf films. Even the Underworld films. Even though werewolves aren't the focal point, but they're a good representation of werewolves in that film, in that whole franchise. So, just watch those. Fuck this movie. This is gonna get forgotten in the zeitgeist after, like, it's already gotten forgotten. It's already forgotten in the sense because it took forever to get on the site. When other movies that came out that day or like within that weekend. So, yeah, fuck this movie again. So, but anyways, this is a 3 out of 10. Never watch again. Only positive I really have is I like some of the practical work, and I like some of the transformation which goes along with the practical work. So, but anyway, subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. Tomorrow I'll figure out what to do for a video. I'm thinking of doing All-Star Superman since I think I was originally gonna do that today, but this movie is so bad I felt like I just wanted to knock this one out. So we'll do All-Star Superman tomorrow, and I'll figure out what I'll do for like the rest of the week. Raw on Netflix tomorrow, so another thing, Pin Down Podcast will be live tomorrow to talk about Raw on Netflix. So yeah, but other than that, I will be talking to y'all later. All-Star Superman review will probably be really late tomorrow since I'm going to be doing the stream tomorrow on Pin Down. But I will still try to do All-Star Superman review tomorrow for sure. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end it here. Alright, y'all. Talk to y'all later. All-Star Superman review tomorrow. Peace.